Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show with Joe Rayo on the left and Joe Chaffee, that's me, on the right. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by our friends at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. The weather's been perfect to get your yard in order, although it is a little bit hot out there today, or at least it will be this afternoon. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, 631-756-1125. Tons of mulch. They make it there, and they've got the best prices in town and everything you need to make your yard look terrific. You can either head there or go to the website at omnitruevalue.com. And brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. Practically right down the block from Omni at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, 631-957-5106. And their website is liholidaylighting.com. So,
has JJ finally moved yet?
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine. We went on our walk this morning, and there were a couple of times along the way where he just stopped and sat in the shade and just basically said, "I'm not moving anymore." It's not that. I mean, it's warm, but it's not crazy warm. I don't even think it's really all that uncomfortable out there. It's actually still pretty decent, but hot day today. And by the way, I was looking ahead to Wednesday I started saying this on Friday, and I kind of hit it a little harder yesterday. I think Wednesday we could wind up in the low and mid 90s. It could turn out to be the hottest day of the summer, and it's not even summertime yet.
Yeah. And the thing that's amazing to me about today, Joe, is that we're going to see quite a dramatic drop in the temperature between this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. I mean, in many spots may not get out of the 60s tomorrow. And you would think that with that type of a scenario, with the front coming down, especially from our north, that we'd have some widespread heavy-duty convection to deal with this afternoon, this evening. And yet, all of the models, while indicating that there will be some thunderstorm activity, really showed very widely scattered. I mean, admittedly, whoever ends up with a thunderstorm later today or this evening will probably get hit very hard. But those kind of storms are going to be very few and far between. And it's conceivable that this front will pass on by and that most folks will not see a drop and just see a gradual trend toward cooler and less humid conditions overnight into tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think two issues. First off, yeah, the dew points are coming up today, but they're nothing really to write home about. I mean, you're talking about dew points that are getting up into the upper 50s and low 60s. You know, if we were seeing dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s, we probably could be having a different conversation. And also, the upper trough that is, you always like to see, if you're looking for severe weather, you really want to see at least a strong upper trough coming and getting involved. And in this case, one that's kind of east-west oriented, sort of extending into New England. It's not really anything to write home about with respect to the upper trough coming down and moving through it. There's not a, there's some lift, but there's not a ton of lift. Yeah, I'm thinking widely. I'm thinking scattered thunderstorms. Maybe, in the days when they didn't have marginal risk, they used to just call it isolated severe thunderstorms. And I think that's maybe what you might see in a couple of, the odd thunderstorm that winds up generating a warning for somebody. And this is a situation too where it's you probably get some gusty winds out of it, but you're not going to get a whole lot of rain. Everything's going to be moving along. So
too fast.
Yeah. Non-event. And we're probably going to do it all over again on Wednesday. Almost a similar setup with the hot weather and a bit of a upper trough / front trying to come southward. And yeah, I think even on Wednesday, you're probably going to wind up with some widely scattered stuff.
Kind of reminds me, I think I may have mentioned this before, many, many years ago, I was watching when the Mets were playing at Shea Stadium. This goes back to the days when Bob Murphy, Ralph Kiner, and Lindsey Nelson were doing the broadcast, and they were all of a sudden the sky got very dark at Shea, and all of a sudden, all at once, thunder, lightning, wind, the rain's pouring down, and the grounds crew, which at the time was manned by Pete Flynn and Johnny McCarthy, they ran out to get the tarpaulin onto the field. They weren't even halfway done, and all of a sudden, everything stopped. And you look out in the outfield, and the sky is a deep shade of blue. And within about a minute or two, the sun is coming out, and this is even before they had the tarp fully on the field. And like I still remember Lindsey Nelson saying, "Hey guys, it's all over. It's all over. You can take it off now." And that type of situation, that type of storm that I'm reminiscing about way back when at Shea Stadium, that's the kind of situation I think we might see in a few places this afternoon or early this evening as the front moves on by. Hit or miss, very dynamic, very brief. You get a heavy downpour, or some rumbles of thunder, some gusty winds, but it's all over within about 5 or 6 minutes, and it's out of here. And again, somebody who lives 5 miles up the road may not see a drop. So this is what we're looking at this afternoon. So I would say if you have something out of doors, a barbecue, or if you're planning to do some gardening or something, go ahead and do it. Just keep your eye on the sky, and if you see some darkening, you might want to rush in because that thing will be on top of you before you know it. And as soon as it's gone by, you can go back outside again.
Yeah, we're on the same page with this. I'm impressed that you know the names of the groundskeeper. Do you know the names of their wives and their children too? I mean,
well, the reason why I know that is that back in the day when I used to work at a private forecasting service, who I will not mention, because I did not leave that service on good terms, so I will not give them any publicity. But when I was working there, one of our clients were the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. And you got to know and it's interesting. The Yankees, when we gave them daily forecasts, we had to fax them the forecast in the morning, and that pretty much was it. The Mets, on the other hand, John McCarthy, who was the stadium operations manager, and especially Pete Flynn, wonderful Irish brogue, who was the head groundkeeper at Shea Stadium. Pete would always call up at 8 o'clock in the morning. As soon as the phone rang at 8 o'clock, I said, "Oh, that must be Pete." Pick up the phone. "Hi, weather." "Yeah, Pete Flynn at Shea. How does it look for today?"
Nice.
And the Mets and the Yankees, again, the weather briefings were a bit different. And there were a couple of times, I might add, that during crucial ball games, I actually had to talk to the umpire. The umpire, I guess the groundskeeper said, "Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the rain. Talk to the guy who gives us the weather." And it would be one time I talked to Dutch Rennert, a National League umpire of many years. He said, "All right, what's the story? When is this rain going to stop?"
Nice.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing
I
those.
bet. I bet.
Doing
Well,
that
it's all
game
those
or
things
whatever.
you remember, you carry with you through the rest of your life. They're all
Exactly.
good things. Okay, so Joe Rayo is going to be monitoring the chat board because I'm only on one monitor today. So, Joe, you pay attention to what's being discussed on the chat board and do share when you can. And I think I also gave you your screen sharing capabilities in case you feel inspired to pull up a map or two.
Yeah.
Let me double
Oh,
check
and
and
of
make
course, wait a
sure.
minute.
Yep, you're
Wait
all
a
set.
minute. Wait a minute.
What?
See, I said I did not leave on good terms with my former employer, and now here's Mr. Ruben Fairchild. Well, Joe Rayo, were you fired from that service? Why are you being so secretive? You talk about a guy who has to know everything. It's Mr. Ruben Fairchild.
Oh yeah, what are you writing up? This is where I forgot who somebody in my life would always say when you ask somebody asks too many questions. Are you writing a book?
Oh,
I got the U.S. satellite, and I just want to point out I got it on the far right in the middle of the frame. If you go to the far right, you can actually see Tropical Storm Anna as it is now moving away toward the northeast. I have to tell you, Joe. I mean, I don't know what the checkbox,
criteria.
the checkbox criteria is, but I
Uh-huh.
will say this: I really wonder if, these are the types of systems that years ago I don't think they would have even given the time of day. Honestly,
Correct. I absolutely agree with you. And the only ones who can make such a comment like that are people like you and I who have been in this business for more years than we care to remember. I would not think that, 25 or 30 or 40 years ago, they would have said, oh, yeah, this is and back then, there was no such thing as subtropical storm names. They just, if you thought it was a tropical system worthy of getting a name, you gave it a name. And you're right. I don't think they would have given this thing a name, years and years ago. But now, oh, we got
Well,
GOES 16. Oh, we've got the technology now.
well,
You
they
know,
actually, this is not even a subtropical storm anymore. This is actually a tropical storm. They upgraded it to a tropical storm this morning.
right,
So
right.
yeah, but I mean, look, it's so small. I mean, it's basically a glorified severe thunderstorm. It's the size of a pea, and it's moving away to the northeast. I mean, this is just really, well, look,
Well, I mean,
it's
like
not
back in
my
the day when you,
job. I don't. It's not my job. I don't want to
I don't,
overanalyze this.
I don't see this mentioned very much anymore in the technical discussions. But I mean, back in the day, they'd look at a system like this and they would make comparisons using what they call the Dvorak numbers
Mm-hmm.
that they knew specifically about the type of cloud cover associated with the tropical system. And I got to tell you, this to me, I agree with you 100%. I don't think they would have called this a storm, and this may very well be at least a part of the reason why in recent years we've seen so many tropical systems, because they're categorizing storms which back in the day would never have been categorized as a tropical system.
Yeah.
So that's where we live in now.
Yeah. Exactly. So in the meantime, we're still in the throes of this Omega block, which for some reason I don't know what. Oh, I know why. Okay, so maybe that's the reason. Yep. Okay. I had the transparency turned off. So we're in the throes of this Omega block where we've got this deep trough in the west. You've got this very strong ridge in the east, and then another trough that's out in the open waters of the Atlantic. The upper high is migrating westward, and as a result, you're seeing the door opening up for the northerly flow aloft on the backside of the upper low that's out to the east, and that's why we're getting this weather front that's pushing down from upstate New York and eastern Canada, and it's fairly well defined, Joe. If you look at the sharp cloud line, but the clouds are still a ways away yet, so we're going to be enjoying sunshine for at least the first part of the afternoon before that front gets close enough. And in the meantime, of course, we've been watching this sort of endless flow of moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico and into Texas. There was little, actually, on the satellite yesterday morning, there was a little low that spun up off the Texas coast, but just as quickly as it spun up, it kind of fell apart. But all that moisture is being drawn northward ahead of the deep trough that's out in the west, and that's also still producing some wintertime weather out in parts of the western part of the United States. But it's an unusual pattern to see this time of year. But when you get into it, we got into this sweet spot, the eastern 2/3 of the U.S., actually the eastern, everywhere east of the Mississippi pretty much, except for the odd spots here and there, and just some patchy clouds in the southeast. Enjoying some really great weather on this Sunday. And I'm thinking that we're going to see some changes this week, and we're looking ahead to the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Uh, there are going to be some forecast issues here trying to figure out how that plays. I don't know how you see that yet. I'm going to just come back briefly full screen. I don't know how you see the Memorial Day weekend yet, but it does look like it's going to be different from what we had this weekend.
Yeah, well, as we all know, this is the first of the big summer holidays, and even though it's not officially summertime yet, so there's a little bit of extra added, I wouldn't say pressure, but more of and then consider last year, what we went through last year versus what we're about to go through this year. I was watching last night, Joe, the final season episode of Saturday Night Live, and they made a big deal about it, the fact that Studio 8H, where the show is shown live each week, that for the first time since the pandemic began, for the first time, everybody they had a full house in the studio of people who had been vaccinated. So there are a lot of people who are hoping next weekend will be um, a nice weekend. And, it'd be nice if we had great weather from this vantage point to tell everybody about. But as per usual, there are a few things that we need to watch. Getaway day on Friday, maybe a bit on the unsettled side, but then who knows? Maybe high pressure trying to build in will allow for some nice clearing. Although, unfortunately, as I see it, or at least I saw it last night and this morning, it looks like there may be some hangback moisture
Right.
for part of next weekend, which means that there may be some problems for at least one of the weekend days. That looks like to be Saturday. Even Sunday's not clear at this point. So it figures you want some nice weather for a holiday, and you'd like to go 3 straight and have nice conditions straight on through. At this moment in time, from this vantage point, and again, we're talking 6-7 days out, it may not be that way, but
Yeah,
we always can hope.
I've always said Memorial Day holiday weekend is always the one weekend of the 3 summer holidays. So you got Memorial Day, you've got 4th of July, and Labor Day. The first one, Memorial Day, is usually the one where you have the most problems forecast wise, and also the most problems weather wise in general, because it comes too early. It is still May. You're still subject to uh, subject to the northern part of the jet stream dipping down southward from time to time, complicating matters. You're still subject to the potential for an onshore flow because the ocean water temperatures are in the 50s. So to expect that for some reason there's no magic around holiday weekends, just because they're holiday weekends doesn't mean that the weather is supposed to be, is supposed to be also celebrating the holiday by bringing you nice weather. And also remember that you're 1 point in geography wherever you stand. There are other parts of the country that while you might wind up having miserable weather, they're going to be having decent weather, and you're going to say, well, why me? But that's just, that's the way the world
That
goes. I mean, that's
that's
that's pretty much how it functions. I don't
exactly
know. There's
exactly.
to kind of make it into some sort of veiled conspiracy of some kind, fantasy conspiracy, if you want to call it that, is just kind of silly, really. But in the meantime, checking out the radar here at 11 a.m. There is rain up in eastern Maine. There's there the trough axis is out to the east of the coast, so they're kind of a little more involved in it. So you're seeing some rain there, and also seeing a few showers today in southern Wisconsin, in and around, scattered around Chicago, southern Minnesota, back up through the Dakotas. This is where a lot of the severe weather, by the way, is going to be focused today. Is going to be up in the plain states, and we'll show you that in a moment. Meantime, there's still more bands of heavy rain and showers coming into the coastal bend of Texas between Corpus Christi and Houston, and then shooting up northward toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then on up into central and northeastern Oklahoma. They're still trying to wind their way through what was a very wet weather week last week. And the Storm Prediction Center for today has enhanced risk. It's all in the western plains, really, from Texas and eastern New Mexico northward up through the Dakotas and western Nebraska. You see that area of enhanced. We have a marginal risk of severe weather being indicated from just north of I-90, southward to just south of Long Island, to about Route 195 in New Jersey, and then extending out into northeast and north central Pennsylvania. And that is, again, as Joe mentioned earlier, talking about maybe widely scattered thunderstorms, and maybe there might be the isolated severe cell or two in the mix. Severe weather risk for tomorrow. This is Monday into Tuesday. Again, the western plains extending northeastward into the western lakes, mostly a marginal risk with a small area of slight risk in western Kansas and southwestern Nebraska. And for day 3, which is the period from Tuesday into Wednesday, wash rates repeat. It's almost identical. You'll notice no thunderstorm risk in the Northeast for Monday and Tuesday. And then just a quick look at days 4 through 8. And we're seeing predictability too low for day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. And as far as rainfall is concerned, Now we're getting dry again here, so WPC must be looking at this, and this takes us through next Sunday. Does not take us through the entire Memorial Day weekend. It takes us through next Sunday morning, but they've got us in about 3/4 of an inch to an inch, or maybe a little bit more, from Ohio and West Virginia on eastward into southern New England. I got to think that this is probably going to be more toward the system on Friday than it is going to be for any frontal passage either today or on Wednesday. Bigger rains in the plains and in the middle Mississippi Valley, up to several inches being indicated there. Still more rain, although not as crazy, and probably spread out over the entire week. It isn't too bad, but on top of what's already fallen in much of eastern Texas. They've had half a foot to a foot of rain in spots. So you're looking at some areas an additional couple of inches or more, again, convectively driven. The northern Rockies still getting clobbered by moisture there. And I think some of that is going to be in the form of snow, and also in the Pacific Northwest and the Southwest is looking on the dry side. So again, it's probably toward the left for the Northeast and the northern Mid-Atlantic states. It's probably more toward the latter part of the week and the weekend, going into the weekend, that rainfall is indicated for.
I'm just looking at the chat board, and the chairman is on today, Scott Briller, who hit super chats, and we thank him very much for that. But he also says Memorial Day Briller Jeopardy coming tomorrow. Winner gets a beach chair, courtesy of Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills.
Well, it would have to be a fur. It would have to be a fur beach.
Indeed. I'm just checking to see, Joe, if anybody else has hit super chats, and that's the first. And there may be somebody who had hit super chats prior to Mr. Briller, but I just didn't see it. But I don't think so. I think this is the first one. Oh, wait a minute. I was wrong. Chuck Cardillo. And Chuck has also on his super chats an icon with a Teletubby or whatever, saying, keep it up.
All right. NHC going back to Tropical Storm Anna, which should be gone soon. They have it post-tropical by tomorrow morning. You can see it's way out in the Atlantic. They got a name out of the way. I don't really think there's much more that we really can say about this, and I don't believe that they've got anything else, and they don't. So this, by the way, is the 6th time in the last 7 years that we have had a tropical cyclone in the month of May. And
actually, Joe, I did a survey. I think this is the 7th consecutive year that we've had a tropical system in May. And in fact, one year, the first system was a hurricane in January. There are actually 2 systems. I'm bringing up the. I don't have it in front of me, and I'll try and bring it up right now. But this makes 7. It's interesting that between 2015 and this year.
Well, it's the 7th year in a row that we've had something before the 1st of June.
Correct.
But I think there's one May in that stretch that it didn't happen. We had an April cyclone, and then right? Am I right?
Right. One of them was April.
Right.
But there was one year we had 2. One in January, and I think the other one was in May.
Right. That was, I believe, in 2016. But yeah, so it's 6 out of 7 that we've had a May named cyclone, and it's the 7th consecutive year that we've had one before June 1st. And I think you said on what you posted, when you go back and look at the prior period, it only happened like 4 times in 30 years that we had an early system.
Correct, from 2000 to 2014, and that's a 15-year period when you include 2000. Only 4 tropical systems. In fact, of those 4, one of them was in April. That was 2003 when we had, guess what? Tropical Storm Anna, just like we have now. And 2007, it was subtropical storm Andrea. See, I'm not into this. I mean, when you start giving names to subtropical systems, which really did not happen back in the day. But yeah, from 2015 to 2020, we have had 7 tropical systems. One of them was in 2016. We had Bonnie in May. We had Hurricane Alex on January 12th of 2016. Right. And 2017, April 20th, Tropical Storm Arlene. And then we had Tropical Storm Alberto in 2018, subtropical Andrea. It's for whatever reason, when we get to Andrea, it's always a subtropical storm. We've had two subtropical Andreas here, and then in 2020, Tropical Storm Arthur was the culprit. So there you go.
All right. Well, let's look at the upper air and take a look at what's going on. So you have that upper high. Just going back to yesterday, the big upper high centered over Tennessee. You see the upper low northeast of Bermuda. You see the deep upper low out in the western part of the U.S. The overall profile changes because the upper low out in the Atlantic gets absorbed by a deep trough. You see this deepening trough that is an upper low sitting in the Davis Strait between northeastern Canada and Greenland. That trough extends down along 60 degrees west and just absorbs the whole tropical system. And that's also responsible for pushing this cold front through here. But again, with respect to the severe weather threat in the Northeast, you see where the blue is in northernmost Maine, eastern Canada. The strongest part of that trough is going well to the northeast of the northeastern part of the United States, which is why we're just kind of on the tail of this. If that trough was deeper, further southwest, we probably would have a lot more widespread severe weather event threat than what we're seeing. The upper low in the west, meanwhile, instead of coming eastward, actually moves northward toward Montana, which is why you saw that precip up there, and eventually gets up into southern Canada, and then opens up and moves eastward. So that allows the ridge to rebuild in the east for Tuesday and Wednesday, which is why we're going into another very hot round of weather for Wednesday of this coming week. And then here's where it really changes, because you do have a little bit of blockiness from Iceland to Greenland starting Thursday and troughing in the east. The ridge is gone. It's not a very deep trough, but there's enough. Joe, when you talk about lagging moisture, this is where the holiday weekend kind of hinges on. And I'm just going to roll this back to Tuesday. So, your upper low in the west is right there into southwest Canada, but there's this energy that's coming into the northwest coast. It's a short wave there. Of course, you see this big upper low that's up in eastern Canada, just kind of locked in there. So this lead system moves eastward, and then you're going to watch this short wave that is off the Pacific Northwest coast, because that is what the model picks up on and eventually winds up kind of lagging it behind. The first system goes out, the second trough just kind of comes in behind it and just hangs here in the eastern part of the United States. It actually drops in to Ohio and western Pennsylvania. It's nothing especially strong, but it's enough troughing where you could wind up with some complications here if this is real. And if it does hang out, it could mean for some problems starting from Friday and then on and off through Saturday and Sunday, maybe even into Memorial Day. I don't know. But that's the concern here. Sometimes it's not big systems that are a problem. It's these little ones that sort of find themselves in no man's land, and there's no way to kick them out. You have to wait for the next system to come along in the west to do that, and that this time of year everything slows down anyway. So, it's a matter of timing. I don't know if it's especially good timing for next weekend.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking more to me, Joe. And you're right. It's these little systems. Over the years, I could remember a long time ago, one Memorial Day weekend where it was a little system, a little closed low, which just happened to develop, let's say, over West Virginia, and then dropped into the area around the Outer Banks of North Carolina, the Virginia Capes, and it just kind of just sat there for the better part of the holiday weekend. And every day we woke up, Saturday, Sunday, even Memorial Day, Monday, to gray, cloudy skies, a little sun, a spot or two of drizzle, a shower. It was horrible. And you're right, because we're still basically into spring. That's what we sometimes get when we kick off the first of the three big holidays of summertime. And let's just hope that things change in the interim between now and, let's say, later this week, or at least our ideas of what may come our way for the holiday weekend change. Otherwise, look at it. Look at this. We have a sultry, summery day today, and we have another one coming our way on Wednesday. It'd be lovely if we could have one or both of those days coincide, the weather pattern coincide with Memorial Day Monday, but sometimes things just don't work out that way.
I was just, while you were talking, I was looking at the icon model, and it was a reminder to me of, and also the GFS. It's a reminder for me and you about how much we both hate daylight saving time, because we would at least have the new GFS far enough out at this point. Unfortunately, it's just starting, and the icon is also, obviously, usually the icon is the one that's done first, but it's not out far enough yet. But I wanted to see if what the new models we're looking at with regards to the next weekend. I will say that the one thing you want to hope for is that whatever that tag along system is, that either it's wrong about hanging out, that maybe there's something behind it that'll kick it out faster, or in the case of the overnight icon models, where it was just suppressing it so far south that it allowed the cooler high to the north to kind of build down and clean house around here and salvage at least maybe 1 or possibly 2 days of the weekend. We'll have to just wait and see on that. In the meantime, there's your sort of innocent looking front for today. It really doesn't do very much. Most of the action is much further to the east, again, because we pointed out where the trough is. Still getting those rains in virtually the same spots in East Texas on up into Oklahoma. There's your snow in Montana, in western Montana, western Wyoming, northeastern Nevada, and northern Utah, with the upper trough that's out in the west that's going to be moving northward up into Canada. Our high comes down for quick shot with this high. It comes down, cools off very quickly, and then just as quickly as it cools off, the high is already off the coast tomorrow afternoon. So we're already starting to warm things up with the next air mass going into Tuesday. Now, I'm thinking, Joe, Tuesday, got a warm front going by to the north, so maybe there might be some cloud issues early with this. But once that goes by and we get into this west wind for Wednesday, I think we could probably see temperatures up at, I was looking at 90 to 95. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see somebody go to 94 or 5 on Wednesday. Anywhere from Northeast Virginia to Southern New England. It's going to be just, and in fact, you're probably going to see 90s even up, moving up even further north into New England until a front goes by. Maybe a better chance for storms late Wednesday as that next front goes. And then here's your problem for Friday. A high pressure kind of enveloped from Minnesota to eastern Canada, low pressure riding underneath it. And I mean, this is overrunning rain with an east wind here. I mean, this will be raw if this is right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a raw look for Friday.
Boy, I tell you, I'm just looking at as you're talking, Joe. I'm looking at the RPM model, and also what we refer to, what the TV people refer to as the future cast. And it does show that the best chance for any precipitation this afternoon probably would be right around 6 or 7 o'clock. But I got to tell you that even the Futurecast or the RPM does not show anything substantial in terms of major convective activity. They do show some showers, but it really doesn't look like we're going to have to be too concerned about significant convection this afternoon. But we'll wait and see on that. And I agree. I mean, look, if we're going to see temperatures in the 90s again today, and yesterday I think Newark hit 96, and 90s again today, and then tomorrow maybe
I'm sorry,
not dropping.
Newark hit 96 yesterday. I wasn't paying attention.
I know
it got to. I know that.
I'm not sure if that was the record. Maybe that was the record for Newark yesterday, or they got close to that. But I mean, it was hot everywhere that you went yesterday. So it just and to see the fact that we're going to go into the 60s tomorrow. So when you speak about raw conditions and chilly conditions for Friday, that's not too surprising, considering that there's still ample amounts of cool air available to us if we can somehow get at it. And it looks like we may get at it on Friday.
I brought up the European from last night too, and the European, if you watch that upper low that's in South Dakota on Friday, moving eastward by Saturday evening, it's in Ohio and um, and eastern Lake Michigan. I'm sorry, eastern Michigan. Sorry about that. And here's the Europeans' idea is that it just kind of hangs that upper low. Now, this might be a situation where the upper low is far enough west that we'll catch a break here after whatever happens Friday with the lead shortwave that's moving off of eastern Canada. So this is one possibility that you could wind up seeing it lag behind because it really doesn't even get into the eastern part of the United States until Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So it gives you a little bit of room here. But it's a very, very tricky situation because you're going to have these highs to the north. You're going to have, onshore flow. You're going to have these weak short waves that are going to drive you nuts in terms of trying to figure it out. I think what you got to hope for is that the GFS is right, and to the extent that you lose Friday, and maybe even in the first part of Saturday. But if we could somehow get this thing to get kicked along, and there is a possibility that that could happen if there's enough upstream energy to just sort of kick it along, so that you could see improving weather conditions for later Saturday, Sunday, and maybe even into Monday. But if that upper low winds up hanging around to our west, it's going to mean it's going to make for problems. It may not wash
Right.
out all 3 days, but it will probably mean rain at some point for each day, in my view.
And the other thing that I'd be concerned about is the fact that if it does hang out, let's say for several days, sometimes when you have these systems, these upper level low pressure systems that hang out for a while, yeah, they lift out, but they kind of leave. How can I best describe this? Kind of like an atmospheric hole,
Mm-hmm.
in that the next time we have another low pressure upper level system come by, it kind of runs over that spot where the first low was, and it falls into that hole, and once again you're stuck with a system that hangs out for 3 or 4 days, and it just keeps doing that over and over again until finally there's some kind of a change in the upper level winds. The hole gets filled and everything starts moving again. So what I'm saying is I'm concerned that if indeed there is some kind of a system that hangs out over the Memorial Day weekend, that may have implications on future systems that may take us on into the month of June, at least during the first part of June. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And yeah, Joe, believe it or not, yesterday Newark Airport did hit Liberty Airport 96 degrees yesterday. At 1:51, the 2 o'clock observation, the temperature was 93, but look at this, the dew point was 54. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a 93-degree temperature, in this part of the country, yeah, the 54 was a bit of a savior for you. I mean, I know people turned on their air conditioners yesterday, but just imagine if instead of a 93 54, you had a 93 64, or dare I say, if it's July and August, a 93 74, then it would have been absolutely unbearable. At least the dew point temperatures yesterday throughout the area were low enough to make all of these extremely hot temperatures tolerable somewhat.
Yeah, no, you're right. The one nice thing about a pattern like this, if it's going to get hot, you do get these days where you get these setups with the northwest wind or a west wind, and that's a whole lot easier to handle than a southwest or a southwest wind from the standpoint of humidity. I'm just a little bit. I'm a little surprised. I wasn't paying close attention yesterday. Uh, I noticed that where I am on Long Island, it probably made it to about 80 or 81, and I was kind of surprised it made it as warm as it got as warm as it did because we had a lot of clouds here for a good part of the day. Every time the sun tried to come out, there were some more high clouds that came in. But then I was talking to Leon Probitsky, known as Leon of Lindenhurst, and he got to 89 yesterday where he was. And I was like, whoa, so that was unusual since
Well, Islip got to 90 yesterday,
yeah, see,
believe it or
I
not.
was just northeast of Islip. I never got anywhere close to that. So it was kind of it was a warm front that was sort of stuck, a little warm front that was stuck over me, I suppose. And also the temperatures yesterday were way above guidance. I mean, and way above what the local digital forecasts were, and way above what I thought we would get to. But um, yeah, maybe maybe this will be the kind of summer where we get these setups where we've got a ridge inland of the East Coast, and you get these, these fronts that come down and force a west wind where it gets very hot. And then the front comes through, and then you get a nice shot of relief behind it. So I mean, if we're going to have that, I'd rather have that. I'd rather go to 94 or 5 with dew points in the 50s than have to deal with temperatures in the mid and upper 80s and dew points in the low 70s. I mean, I'd rather have the heat.
Equatorial weather, the kind with the late great Tex Antoine used to say in certain situations, it's the kind of day where the wallpaper begins to peel off your wall, or the kind of a day where you step outside and you immediately break a sweat. That was not the kind of day. It was hot yesterday, but we did not have that kind of a day yesterday. Humidity is an alibi for the heat. And it is sometimes the heat. It's sometimes the humidity more than the heat, and we'll be getting into those kind of days, unfortunately, probably in July and August. I also want to tell Mr. Pravitsky that I'm in a virtual way coming to his hometown on Tuesday, because my library talk on Tuesday is for the Lindenhurst Library. So that'll be in the evening. So if you care to, I'll post something about it on my Facebook page about that. But tomorrow I have Bronxville, and unusually enough, tomorrow my library talk is at 3:00 in the afternoon. But all the others are coming during the evening hours, and we have adjusted the Joe and Joe schedule, or tried to adjust it accordingly, at least through midweek.
And Leon just hit super chat, so thank you very much, Leon. Most appreciated as always.
Thank you, Leon.
So, do we have Mrs. Rayo for our Sunday morning escapades?
Hey, Mrs. Rayo, you're on.
Hey, Trixie.
Now, I just heard now she's gonna get real mad, Joe. Yesterday, my wife and my daughter put together my Christmas present, which was a brand new office chair, and I refused to put it together because I loved my old chair.
Okay.
It conformed to my
your torso.
My torso. Now, I also had an old chair in this room, in my office, and so she thinks I've got the new chair I'm sitting on. I moved the old chair in and moved the new chair back. So
do you have any? Do you have any sharp objects within reach? Or?
I noticed it already.
What?
You had switched to the old chair.
Yeah, the old chair, because I like the old chair is hot and a little bouncy. Do you want to sit in the new chair?
I'll sit in the new chair.
Yeah, well, she spent all of yesterday with my daughter doing the new chair.
Yeah, right. 20
all right,
minutes.
Here. No, it wasn't 20 minutes. This back. Maybe I'll just sit here.
Hello there.
Hi. Okay.
How are you?
Just fine. So what's our topic for this morning?
Okay, so this is sort of, well, I'm trying to word this. I mean, I rarely eat fast food. I don't know about you. Okay.
No, we rarely go to
yeah, no,
I
happened this on my drive up. I happened to have McDonald's for the first time in ages, and I got I will say I got the chicken sandwich, the deluxe crispy chicken sandwich, and it was actually okay. Okay, I mean, on a fast trip, you got to grab something that was okay. All right? Mm-hmm. But I won't touch anything else. Because I can easily make it myself and make it far better. So today we are going to look at, because we've been doing these top 10 lists, and baseball rules apply. So the top 10 fast food chains, but according to sales in the United States. Okay. So and the hint here is that it ain't just burgers and chicken. Okay. So these are the top 10 quote fast food chains in dollar sales.
Okay. Well, the first one obviously that comes to mind, which you already mentioned, is McDonald's.
McDonald's is the number one answer.
Yes, that
Yes.
has to be. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
McDonald's is number one.
And my next guess would be Burger King. That has to
Burger
be there.
King is number 7.
Okay.
Okay. Burger King is number 7.
Let's see. Uh, what's that? Well, I'm going to say Kentucky Fried Chicken. That has got to be
Kentucky
there, no?
Fried Chicken sadly did not make the top 10.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I'm going to say, how about Pizza Hut?
Pizza Hut is number 10. Number
Okay.
10 is Pizza Hut.
Wow. All righty. Let's see. What's that? Taco Bell?
Taco Bell is number 4.
Really?
Number 4.
He's making faces. Okay. Okay. Let's see. There's another chicken place. Popeyes. Is that there?
Popeyes did not make the list.
No. See,
No.
chicken places did not make the list.
And their crispy chicken sandwich is considered the best among all the fast food
Yes.
restaurants.
Yeah, I
but
know.
they-
I know.
Popeyes did not make the list.
Let's see. We have Wendy's. I forgot about Wendy's.
Wendy's is number
nearby.
6. Wednesdays
Wendy's,
is number
okay.
6. You already have 2 strikes, by the way, so you only have one.
I
the other one.
know. I know.
Wednesdays
I
is
know.
number 6. Some of these are
Probably not in the Northeast.
well, remember, quote, fast foods, okay? Because it's not all burgers and chicken, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, I named 2 chicken places that I thought would be there.
Let me help you with one, okay? This one is number 2, okay? It's number 2, and it's not what you would probably consider a fast food place technically, okay?
Oh, Starbucks?
Number 2 is Starbucks. Yes,
Yeah.
number 2 is Starbucks.
Okay.
Now stay.
that I wouldn't have thought about.
Okay, now stay along the same theme. Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. So McDonald's, Starbucks. All right. You didn't
Okay,
get
so-
Taco Bell, Wendy's, Burger King,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts. Now you mentioned Pizza Hut earlier, so stay on that theme.
Stay on that theme. Oh, Domino's?
Domino's.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you
right.
don't want to know what I think about
Yeah, no.
Domino's.
I
Anyway.
understand. Okay, so now that leaves us with number 5 and number 3. Okay.
Number
Now-
5 and the third one.
Now one of these, okay, you mentioned before, is one that you have only recently. There's one on Long Island now, which only recently, last couple of years, opened up. They're predominantly in the South.
Predominantly in the South.
And Southerners love this place. They love it. Trust me, from Georgia, they absolutely love this place.
I don't know.
They are closed on Sundays,
They are closed on Sundays.
and they're number 5.
I'm just gonna go with a Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, yes. Chick-fil-A,
Really?
yes.
Yeah, see, we don't have that up in the Hudson Valley.
No,
I
they
don't
just
think
opened
so.
one on Long Island a few years ago. It's actually not too far
Okay.
from where I am, and they're
All right,
closed
so
on Sundays. Okay,
So
so
we've got one more.
one more. So
One more.
All right, I'll tell you.
All right,
I'll
have to
tell.
give
I'll
me a
tell
hint.
you. I will tell you what did not make the top 10. Just missing the top 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Panera, Chipotle Mexican Grill, Sonic,
Okay.
KFC,
Okay.
and Arby's. They just,
Oh, see, I was going to say Arby's.
yeah, they
Okay.
just finished outside the top 10.
Okay.
This is probably, hmm,
So what's left? What's
I would
left?
say, how do I describe this? I'll give you a hint. Like a deli.
Like oh, one of those sandwich places.
Hmm. You might,
Oh,
if you lived in the city,
which I don't go to
okay,
either.
right. If you lived in
Oh,
if you lived in
Subway.
Subway, I was just going to say, if you lived in New York City, you might take one of these to work. So, all
Okay.
right, yeah, you know what, I guess I'll tell you honestly, um, my own never to be humble opinion. I'm not a big Starbucks, that's not my thing.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not, I can't, $5 a day on a latte, steam milked on steam milk
Is
is just
ridiculous.
not for me.
You're right.
And I can make my own espresso. I got an espresso pot
Yeah.
and I can make my own
Yeah.
espresso.
Yeah.
If I had to, if I had to choose, I would a Chick-fil-A I would eat and have. And as I said, I tried the McDonald's chicken sandwich on my drive up here, which
Hmm.
was pretty good.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I guess if I had to, also Wendy's. I'll put Wendy's in there. I do like Chipotle. I do like Chipotle.
I've never been in one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like their burritos. So
Joe, when was the last time we were at a McDonald's? I think it was sometime last year, early last year in the spring. We went to a McDonald's. It was like last year in the spring. Remember?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, as we gain
I could.
as we gain,
He says, "Why did I do that?"
I know as we gain age.
All of a sudden, I have a craving for a Big Mac.
Yeah, no. As I have gained in age, uh, I can't handle fast food. I just can't. My stomach revolts. It
Yeah.
just says
It's
no,
not good for us. It's not good
no.
for
It's
us.
not. It's not.
No.
All right.
It's not on the doctor's list. Okay, I'm going to pass you back
Have a
to.
good Sunday. Nice to see you as always, Renata.
Nice to see you too. And here we go. We're going to do a switch.
Yes.
Here you go.
The master of disaster is back. And here he is.
By the way,
Yes. Yes.
I have to tell you, because I know Bill Rogers on the chat board. He's not here today. He's always concerned about the fact that I do the drive straight through. So
Right.
once again, I always say I'm going to stop and get a place. And then what happens is I get within like 3 or 4 hours of my destination. And it's like, what the hell? Let me just finish it. But I will tell you, and I don't know why this was. I had absolutely not a stitch of traffic anywhere on my drive up. It was no construction, no traffic. It was a smooth, perfect drive. And for some reason, it went fairly fast. I did it in 14 hours and 14 and a half hours, which is the shortest it's taken. I mean, that's the fastest. But you know what? I stopped when I had to stop because I had my dog. So we stopped every 2 to 3 hours. And when I stopped, I would stop for 30, 40 minutes and walk around. I actually put 10,000 steps on my step counter on my phone because I got the fitness
Like a
program.
Fitbit.
Yeah, and my phone, it counts the steps. I actually put 10,000 steps on, or over 4 miles from the walking that I did. When I took the dog out, had to walk the dog, and a lot of the rest stops along the way, they're very dog friendly, and they got paths that you can take them on. So for some reason, it just went a lot better this time around. I wasn't as stressed out until I got into northern New Jersey until I got onto the turnpike and had to deal with all those psychopathic signs with 5,000 routes and arrows going, this way, that way, divide. You're driving in a lane and suddenly there's a divider there and you have to choose or get killed,
Right.
one or the other.
Right.
So there was a little stress there, and then a little bit of stress as I came off the George Washington Bridge and got on the roadway, which I always call the longest 5 miles on earth, and that is the Cross Bronx.
Oh,
But I was only on there just to get on the Deegan, and then that was it. And it was actually and there was very little traffic there. It was just trying to maneuver. When you drive under the apartments, and then there's that exit lane on the
right.
left, and you got to get out of the left lane because the left lane disappears. And the other thing I will say is, so I think one of the most insidious things that the state of New York has done, and there's a long list, okay, but I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you have Easy Pass, okay, when they raise the rates again on the bridges on the Whitestone Throgs Neck to $6 each way. Now it's like $6.33. If you have Easy Pass, it's like $12 if you don't, whatever it is. So they've got it so that unless you've got it, they can somehow configure it out now that if you don't have your Easy Pass mounted underneath your rear view mirror, okay, you will be charged a mid-tier rate, which is like $8 and change. They set up
What?
they set up these mid-tier rates. You can go on the website, and I'm not making this up. So they set up a mid-tier rate. Now, look, I understand because which I don't get, because who's going to steal an Easy Pass? Okay, gee, I stole an Easy Pass, so now I can drive back and forth across bridges all day long. Okay, really? So some people don't mount their Easy Passes, or maybe they just don't use it at the bridge anymore. They don't cross the bridge that often. But now that it's all automated and there's no toll booths, you still have people that they're driving at 50 or 60 miles an hour, and you could see them reaching into their glove compartment with one hand on the steering wheel, and they're like this, and then they're going like this as you go underneath the automated toll. It's like, really? Are you kidding me? So and that's obviously a safety hazard. But I mean, to charge a mid-tier because you don't have your Easy Pass mounted exactly where the state wants you to mount it, it's just
Yeah.
preposterous to me.
My pastor at our church
And just a
here
money
in
grab, by the way. Go ahead. I'm sorry, your pastor. You were saying.
my pastor at our church. This is a story told like some years back, going over the Bear Mountain Bridge, and he thought that he was just automatically going to be able to go right straight through with Easy Pass, and he didn't. And he that little gate that comes down.
Yeah.
It's a little thing that comes down and comes up like that. He hit the gate and he broke the gate, right through the gate, broke it. I said to him, says, well, maybe they'll look the other way since you are a man of the cloth and you thought that you were going to be able to make it through before the gate went up or whatever. But
do you know that it costs? Do you know I got on the turnpike off Route 78? That's exit 14. Okay, exit 14. So now I'm going to the George Washington Bridge. It's 4 exits from exit 14 to exit 18, and then the turnpike's done. Do you know that the toll now for those 4 exits, $5?
Wow.
Can you imagine if you have to do that every day?
No. Well, there was one time when there was a chance that I might go back to my former employer when they moved out of Yonkers and relocated to the middle of Long Island. And there was the thought that, well, maybe if I can get back into television, I could go back there, but I can't. And you did this actually, Joe. You did this. You went over when we were working at FiOS together from where you were in Long Island. You went over either the Throgs Neck or the Whitestone
every
Bridge
day.
Twice a day. I mean, how did you? You're asking me, how did you do that?
Cost me
crazy, right?
It cost me $60 a week. I spent $3,000 a year on tolls
just to get to work, to go to work.
And you know what? If I was making a 6-figure salary, which I wasn't, now that you brought it up, if I was making a 6-figure salary, which I wasn't, I might complain about it less, but I wasn't, so I complained about it. I don't, Joe. I'm telling you, one of the things that I've come to realize is, I living down south, and you're paying all this money, and you pay all this money on tolls and on bridges and everything else, and then I get on you would think the streets should be paved in gold with what they charge for tolls, and then I get on the Long Island Expressway, yesterday, and
Oh,
it's nothing. It's not. It's one giant
oh,
pothole from one end to the other. It's
I
you
think,
got to be kidding me. People
yeah,
pay all this money and all these extra tolls on roadways, and this is what at least look if I'm going to pay if I'm paying $10 a day, $15 a day, those roads better be in tip-top shape, and they're not. They're
right,
horrible.
yeah,
Okay,
right,
and I understand there was a pandemic and all the rest of it, but you know what? It's nonsense. It's awful. I don't know how I
right.
did it all. I really don't.
Like, when you were working at Pix at Channel 11, and you were commuting into the city, what did you take the Queensboro, the 59th Street
No,
bridge? Because
I took the tunnel because the traffic. Everybody would take the Queensboro to save the toll. Okay, but I took the it was I think when I it was only $3 and change. I think when I each way, and then when it was Easy Pass, I think I was paying in 2000 end of 2007. Maybe it was $3.50 or $4 each way. It was like okay, it's lunch money. Um, and I was only doing it twice a week. I wasn't doing it 5 days a week. It was 5 days a
right,
week. We might be having a different conversation, but I always drove in off hours. So, and that it was only twice a week. I ate it. I just
yeah,
basically said, okay, I'd rather pay the tunnel because I don't want to sit in traffic. And sometimes when you came off the bridge into Second Avenue, it would be, especially there was a time when they were doing the subway construction. So if you came off the bridge, Second Avenue was a nightmare. They were building tunneling under Second Avenue. Second Avenue was a
right.
nightmare. So I used to pay the toll, but it was twice a week, not 5 days a week.
I guess if I were going to be commuting into New York City, if I had a job, or if I had to commute into Manhattan, let's say, I had the toss up. I could either take the Triborough Bridge into Manhattan, or I could take the Third Avenue Bridge. And the Third Avenue Bridge, of course, is not a toll bridge. But on the other hand, the Third Avenue Bridge doesn't take you through a very nice part of New York. So if you have a car problem, good luck.
Yeah, I don't do that no more.
Right.
I don't do that no more. I just
Well, I
have
don't either.
yeah,
I don't. You know.
and I'm a happy camper for it. So anyway, uh, let's end it. It's Sunday. It's after 12 noon, and I want to get my dinner started. So everybody have a great day, and thanks for the super chat hits today. The chairman hitting super chat. Leon Probitsky hitting super chat, and who was the other? Who was the other super chat hit today?
I think it was Chuck.
And
I'm
Chuck
not.
Cardillo, yes,
Yeah.
and Chuck Cardillo hitting super chat. So everyone, enjoy. Even you too, Mr. Ruben Fairchild. Have a good day.
And we
Try and be happy. Go to New Jersey. How's that?
we will be back tomorrow night at 7:30
Okay,
tomorrow
so
night.
yeah, we do have schedule changes this week. So right now, 7:30 tomorrow, 8:30 on Tuesday, right?
Right.
No show on Wednesday, right?
Well, no show, or if you really wanted to, we could have one at 9. I can't do anything earlier than 9.
You want to shoot for 9?
It's up to.
I'd
Why don't we
rather
why
I
don't we just decide on how the weather. It could be an active day weather-wise on Wednesday,
yeah.
so
So
maybe it might be
let's
when.
okay. So in which case we'll so let's say we know tomorrow 7:30 tomorrow, 8:30 on Tuesday, and then
Right.
we'll go from there.
Righto.
Okay, folks, have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.